What's up? Prince Andrew. Epstein might be dead, but let's keep that motherfucker relevant. What a sack of shit, dude. I mean, it's not the first time I've heard about him, but you know, that news broke a few years ago, and we all know what they're up to. They're sick as fuck people, disgusting royal pedophile, gets fucking shifted around throughout the royal family to be hidden and to be protected. It's so sick, dude. It's so sick that no, there's no possible way I could have fucked her. I don't sweat, you see. I was in the war and I suffered severe shock and it destroyed my sweat glands. And so you see, I did not fuck her. I had not even met her because, madam, I do not sweat. That guy is such a retard. That whole fucking family is, dude. And the Brits holding on to their old ways, dude. Holy shit. Fuck him. I got this coffee this morning. And got about a third of it left. Nothing quite more New England like than you know, nursing a now called Dunkin's coffee. And there's coffee all over the rim. It's pouring off the side here. And it's cold as shit, and at some point you're pretty sure that you asked your cigarette in there. And you take a swig, and it's like unleaded premium for New Englanders, Massachusetts folks specifically. I mean, perhaps that's why they're also there's some crotchety fucking. Ugh, God. It's just, you know, you could, you know, depending on where you live, and I think generally you can really feel it everywhere. Ever since the pandemic, there's just this heightened anxiety. You can see it on the road, you can see it on the people's faces, it's everywhere. Tiny subtleties, you know, more so than not, you're seeing people drive aggressively, erratically. I do so myself at times. You know, you get lost in the blur of this the type of fucking nonsense traffic that ensues here. You have to like almost drive offensively, you know, more so than defensively. But anyways, this is not the point of any of this. Not Prince Andrew, not coffee, not whatever else. Pardon that immediate tangent into lunacy. But you know, I try not to do this, but I got myself all wrapped up in arguing with someone on social media. I got sucked into it. You know, I fed the troll. I don't know if this person was a troll, if they were being serious, but it was just I'm not going to describe, you know, the context doesn't matter. Had to do with religion. That's about as far as I'll go on it. And it's just, if not trolls, there are people who are incredibly overconfident in what they say, and they'll double down on it, and they'll ignore every instance of whatever it is you have to say back to them. And if they could, you know, if they could be right in front of you, they would just talk over you. Because there's such an obsession among people to just it's so easy for anybody to grab information from anywhere and absorb it and parse it in a very minimalist way that also offers just a broad general view. And these people are just confidently ignorant, and they're walking around with bad information. And when approached with, you know, perhaps not even necessarily the right information, perhaps just a degree better, the information is that they can be given from someone else. They can be. That's just a blunder. I'm not going to go revisit at this point. That's in the past. We're moving on. aside from my embarrassing syntax error, I think. I don't know what happened there. Glitch in spandex. But it reminded me, getting to that argument, it reminded me of a time where I had bumped into a guy I considered a friend for a while. And I had just recently got out of basic training. I had just made it through the training pipeline. Lucky me. Yeah, lucky me. It was, hey, good times, bad times, whatever. But, so, you know, I'm there visiting a mutual friend of ours. And he's there, and, you know, we go for a little ride, get a little bite to eat, shoot the shit at a little spot that we used to hang out together as, you know, younger kids. And, you know, it began with, like, he was, you know, laying on me his whole, you know, everything he's learned about, you know, the third eye belief and pineal glands and, you know, all those, you know, spiritual aspects that, you know, are to be taken seriously. There is a lot of literature behind that, but, you know, at the time he had it just in the large chunks that it just initially presented itself as. And, but anyways, from there, you know, relating to, you know, my service at the time, I was, you know, in the National Guard, so I was, you know, I wasn't doing it most of the time. I was most of the time living my civilian life. And so, you know, we're just shooting the shit, smoking some cigarettes underneath the, you know, spotlight. It's like 11:30 at night, and it's nice. It's a nice atmosphere. It's nice to catch up a little bit, talk, shoot the shit, reminisce about old times, bad times, uncertainties, all that type of shit. You know, and like, yeah, I should mention we were both young, so it's understandable that, you know, he's just like, he's falling into his analytic, you know, he's exploring his analytic self, where he's that's just what it appeared to be. And because I remember him not really being this you know, inquisitive and like really that questioning, but it was just like threw me for a loop. So we're talking about the Army, blah 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 blah. You know, I'm telling him what I know about it, and then he's like, all of a sudden he's like, "What about FEMA camps? You know about those?" And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah, FEMA camps. You know, I have a rudimentary understanding. Like, I don't give a shit. I didn't say that, but I didn't really care to, I mean, yeah, sure. And it's like, okay, I knew surface level knowledge of FEMA camps. And he's like, so like, what do they tell you about that stuff? And he's just, not did they tell you, like, he came at me with the belief that he was sure that I had been filled in about anything having to do with FEMA camps. And it was frustrating because as I'm trying to describe to him, like, I'm a private. I have that one chevron, you know, and that's only because I did some fucking coloring book in a fucking class one time, and they bumped me up a rank. It's kind of a joke. Another time for that though. So, and he, you know, I was just kind of like, I didn't know what direction to go, because after having explained to him, like, dude, listen, I'm a low-level functionary. I am at the bottom rung, okay? I am not told anything until like the day before it happens, or even the day of. It's like, you know, I didn't deal with any sort of organization and any sort of like secret briefings. You know, I was just a subpar line medic for a fucking, you know, mounted company. That was just, it was a fun time more than anything. Sucked most of the time, but it was fun. Yeah, it was fun in the suck. But he was kind of unrelenting in this certainty that I had the full scope of the military's operational capabilities at my fingertips, and I have just access to all this different type of knowledge. And it's like, it's frustrating because a person like that will just, at that time, like I said, we're young, so you give them some margin there, but you deal with people that are closer to their 30s than anything, and you're trying to like instill sense in them, and these aren't people that they want to know the true scoop. It's I don't know if it's a very American thing, but I would say it is, that we are just very unwilling to let go of that which keeps us intellectually bogged down. Because there is for a Christian founded nation, it sure is run on a lot of pride, which is a cardinal sin if I'm not mistaken. And it's like, listen, it does you more good than anything else to like accept the right information. And that's a difficult thing to do, and it's sort of alarming that people who are my age, who have grown up with the technology that they should have been teaching themselves how to use, because the current, my parents, that generation, they had no idea where to start with any of that shit. It took my father an hour to figure out how to hook up an N64. I mean, granted, at the time I'm like 6. I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing either. But it's my point is they that generation left themselves behind in a sense with technology. And though there are a lot of boomers that are very technologically savvy and very adept when it comes to tech, everything is a smart device that they use very proficiently. My grandmother is one such person. It's crazy. Like, she always has the new iPhone watch. She's 84, but she's like an extremely social person, and probably credit to her longevity. But and very up to date with the tech and shit. But it's just that it is the most frustrating thing. It's the most like, it makes you lonely in a sense when, like, you're objectively right about something, because you either do it, you've experienced it firsthand, you're not just like making up some snake oil type story, but you have proof of a thing that is. And I'm not talking about like a religious belief. I'm talking about something having to do with a job, let's say. Sorry, I'm fucking with my hair. It's all over the place, isn't it? But and you're telling someone about the profession that you have been taught by others who you see actively hands-on performing work in that profession, and you're being taught from these people who are successful at what they do. And then you have someone else saying, no, that's not really how it works. And they're like, they're doing what? Slinging fucking burgers, not to disparage that, but it's like you're not doing my job. I wouldn't tell you how to do whatever it is you do. I wouldn't think to question it either. I mean, what, in my head, I'm like, what reason would I have to lie about anything that, like, I don't know shit, dude. I didn't even know my fucking drill schedule most of the time, because, listen, I'll make videos about it later on, how terrible National Guard leadership is. Can only speak for Massachusetts Guard, but yeah, a lot of guys don't leave happy. A lot of them enter fucked, and lots of chafing, lots of soreness, lots of prolapsing occurs on the way out. That's Uncle Sam out there fucking his nieces and nephews. So, yeah, and it's just and then it gets to a point where he's like, nah, you don't guess what, you don't have to tell me about it. It's fine. You don't have to. It's cool if like you're sworn to secrecy, and it's like, I'm like, bro, I was like, dude, you like, is this for real? Are you lost? Like, it is just, and dealing with people like that today, it's so much easier to walk away from. no matter what that person believes, or what they or what people say, what people claim that you do for yourself in your private time, and how you conduct yourself and how you do things, and like what you know and what you don't know. And it's like, for anyone to have the confident ignorance to just go ahead and spitball and assume anything like that is an insult to their own intellectual deficit that they're suffering from. But a person like that, whether or not they grow out of that and grow from it, they walk around without anybody telling them that they're wrong. It's you need to be receptive to new information. And Americans are great at hurting themselves by not doing that, and it's due to the stupidest reasons. Whether it's, whether it's political ideology, or racial belief, racist beliefs, anything, any sort of negative belief system that puts other people down or puts an idea down, because you have this preconceived notion of it that is cemented. You've decided that this is how I feel about it. There's no amount of new information that can be brought to my attention that can better inform me of it, because people, quite frankly, there's we are perhaps a dramatic way to put it, in a sense, as Americans, we're fatally settled in how we think, and how we can't be brought together, and how that's going off a fucking thing. Jesus. Listen, I'm trying to find my footing with my video making here. I get off on these. Forget it. Listen, it's do yourself a favor out there. Just creep away from. Just be like, best to you. Best to you. I appreciate you. And, perhaps later on in life we can have this conversation in a better light. Actually, I would rather not. I'd rather the subject matter be of something, more relevant, But I just wanted to touch on that a bit. It was just in my head. I got some ideas spurring about in there, and for the channel. Yet again, that's all I've been so far. Is just saying, hey, I got this idea. I insert idea and then just kind of do it for a little bit and abandon it. But I'll be honest and say that there's always that belief that I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing format-wise on my channel. And I don't know if it's right for the viewer. I don't know if it's right for me. But I'm trying to find my way there in a really clumsy way. I'm as if I'm just a newborn deer who's, still, I can't figure out my knees. I'm still fucking, my hooves are covered in afterbirth, and, quite frankly, it's quite a mess on the floor there. So, listen, give me some time. But listen, just confident ignorance. If you're smart enough, you possess the self-awareness, you can identify it. Therefore, you can learn to just avoid it. And with that, you'll save yourself a headache. You'll spare yourself time wasted, at the behest of someone who's clearly ignorant about what they're talking about. And the more painful thing is that you are sitting there knowing so about them. And yeah, it's a strange feeling, especially when someone's fighting you back on it. It's like, what the fuck? Anyways, more's to come, so stay tuned.